He will be brief and run out the door. He does not have time for questions.
Good evening, folks, and thank you so much, and I apologize for jumping out of turn. I actually have to pick up my child at a babysitter, and she's basically asking me to come pick her up now. I just wanted to introduce myself. Perhaps maybe I can come back to another meeting before November. I'm Brian Wolf. I've lived in Fairfax County since 1973. I left in 1981 to serve my country in the Air Force for 4 years. I served in the Middle East. My commander-in-chief was Ronald Reagan, and he's one of the reasons why I went into the service. I served in the service so long ago that it looks like I might be that too old, but back then there was the Soviet Union that I was basically concerned about. My outfit was, even though I was right on the border of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Iraq wasn't even really an adversary to us at that time. I got out of the Air Force, I came back, and I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit, I'm sorry. But I went into the police work, which I always wanted to do, is serve the police department in my own hometown. Fairfax City was my hometown. I've got a huge family. We have a family of 7. I have 5 kids. I've got 1 child going into 2nd grade, and I've got 1 child going into the 2nd year of medical school. So I've been around. I'm totally dedicated and passionate about getting into this office. One of the reasons I am so passionate is basically the candidate. She is every bit of a Democrat. She wants to go ahead and expand that jail and that sheriff's office into duties that are not hers. The police department and the local government have tons of programs that they're already working on. The last thing that sheriff's office needs is to go ahead and expand more programs and some fuzzy feeling type programs. I want to trim the budget. I want to do it by assessing the manpower and the equipment that's over there. For 24 years, there hasn't been an outsider, and I think that's suspicious in itself, because I want someone from outside with new eyes basically take a look at a $63 million budget for basically an organization that I know most of us here don't even use, because I know most of you, if not all of you, are not getting charged with criminal offenses, misdemeanors, and felonies. You're not getting sued. You're not suing people, so there's absolutely no reason to go to the jail. I've only been there 3 times. If you remove my police service, I've only been there 3 times, and that's to get my provisional driver's license from a judge and to get my provisional driver's licenses for my 2 daughters. Other than that, I've never been in that building other than for official police business. You folks, I'm sure, are just like me. You don't have to go to the sheriff's office that much, but you're paying $63 million for something nobody has ever seen on the inside of that jail in 24 years that hasn't been on the outside. They recycle their supervisors. It's almost like they take turns running or driving the boat there. They'll go ahead and enter into that trial program, and that basically we don't get a chance on the illegal aliens issue. I want to start recording what we're doing as far as illegal aliens, because there's Dan Berry has basically just reported in his annual budget basically these fuzzy, warm-feeling projects. I want to start keeping stats that when we do bring an illegal alien and we do run them through what they call secure communities, and that's a database that's run by the federal government, I want you folks to know on a monthly basis who we're bringing in, who did we target, and basically what the disposition was. Because we have no concern, I guess, to Stan Berry and his administration. I think that's so important. That's a program that basically was funded by the federal government. I think you all should know if it's working. Are we basically running these folks through secure comms? And I know that sounds kind of like a weird, I know I'm going over, but I want to make this point. Secure Communities is basically a database. You bring in everybody in the jail, and they go through that. It's a database that's run by the federal government. If you're a high priority illegal, you're basically put on a detainer there. You have to serve out your time there while your court case is being disposed of. But when you're done, then the federal government can come and pick him up. But I want to know, I know you want to know, is that program working? Or is it basically just smokes and mirrors that we got the program, but how do we know how successful it is? How do we know when we complain to our federal officials, is it working? We don't know. And I think that's so easy just to capture that data. Capture how many prisoners we're bringing in, how many of them are illegal, how many are being removed. And that's basically data that I know I've been curious since I've been a police officer. I need to know that. I know you folks want to know that. I'm so passionate that I want this job and make a difference, that my wife is on board on this. My kids are rolling their eyes. But to get the Democrats to even look at me, I've pledged before my campaign even started that I'm going to donate my entire salary and put it back in the community. Now, some of the newspapers are basically calling that a stunt because Stan Berry used that. Well, mine's a little bit different. Stan Berry retired back in January. He wasn't eligible for a salary. So he basically kind of get all these folks real happy that he wasn't going to draw a salary. Well, the county government and the state government couldn't hide his doings anymore and said, listen, you cannot be an employee here and not draw a salary. I am going to draw a salary. It's a good salary. It's $160,000 a year, but I want my taxes paid, I want my insurance paid, and my retirement paid. The rest of it, 100% for this next term, is going to go back into the community. It's a lot different than Stan Berry's situation, and I find it appalling that a newspaper would call it a stunt. I've got kids that are on student loans going through college, and they can't understand what Dad and Mom just basically did by making that pledge. But I hope that you got to know a little bit about me today. I'll be gladly come back on another time, and I can expand my interview a little bit longer. But I've got to run out the door and grab one of my kids.